Okay, we're gonna have a part two here because I forgot I was gonna pull more cards after, and I had a pot on the stove cooking, I must admit, and it was something that's been simmering for hours and hours. But I got worried because I left it up a little too high, so I had to go in a hurry. So here we are again. This is part two. So if you start with this one, you might want to go back to the part one because then this thing will make more sense. So that was what to do. Maybe I did this a little backwards, but it makes sense the way I did it. And I can't believe it came up that accurately for me. Well, I mean, I should believe it because it always does. I always get the same cards over and over and over, and they're all the ones that apply. So it makes total sense for me. So I hope you can make some sense of it. And that's one of the things I want you to get out of my stuff is to be able to really sort of learn to evaluate the cards and how they work for you. Or if you don't want that, I'm quite happy to just read them for you. But I mean, part of the charm of the cards is kind of learning how they come up in your own spreads and things, and how you will become one to anticipate the things you want. And when things go really right, you know how they do in life, where when things go really right, there's just this, like, I guess you could call it something like the law of attraction, where things start coming to you. And it'll be that way with the cards too, because your mind almost wills them. You know, yes, there is power here that isn't from just coming from us, I don't think, but we also do have great power in it because we know what we want. Somewhere inside we know what we want, but the cards help to give us direction. It is something that I adore. You know, I've had it in my life since I was a child. My mother was a card reader. I've always witnessed it in action. I've been able to see how some of the stuff comes up in real life, and well, all of it in some manner or another. And when you can sort of interpret and evaluate those cards as they come up, it creates more and more magic in your life. I'm not going to say life is perfect. It isn't, because we still make mistakes. We're human and we still make mistakes. And we don't always follow what is obvious to us. And it's not even just what's obvious in the cards, it's what's obvious from our past experience or things we know or whatever. And it's just denying what's real sometimes. Or we just get off on a tangent where we want to do something a certain way. So I'm going to do a little spread here, an 8-card spread for your person. And this is going to be something about how this person is moving through the world right now, how you can evaluate some things about them, and what you should do about it. This will be a little harder to read, especially because I'm reading a card, reading these cards for multiple people. That always makes it complicated. But all we really care about is you, how it relates to you and your life and your situation. So let's take a look at this. Okay. So this one shows the Hermit. Now, we got the one about what to do in the future, but you know, the stuff that's, whenever we're doing a future spread, it is definitely based on things that have happened in the past and present. So there's that meditative state of the Hanged Man, or limbo, or sacrifice. Okay, so on the other end we get the Hermit. So on both sides there can be isolation, some form of isolation. And when I see that, I think definitely a lack of communication between you and this person who you're supposed to break up with. I can definitely say that's true for my situation. I was with somebody very closed up, somebody who really didn't want to talk about anything, God forbid, especially a problem. Now, you might wonder how somebody like me could be with somebody like that, and I'll tell you, it wasn't too successful. So that's how I'm going to interpret that. Okay, so the 2 and 3 of Wands can be looking to the future and looking to the past. You have to do both to move into the future. That's part of life. Now, whichever one you want to say this is, because I say both have both elements to them. My guy was stuck in the past. Like, we're a year apart, but I might as well be 25 years younger, because honestly, he's stuck in the past, very set in his ways, acts like an old person. That drives me crazy. And he can't stand the fact that I'm bounding around like a lunatic. So it's totally mutual. So I imagine he did a lot of time looking back to his past and future. He wants to be like a sedate old retiree in the few next years, and that's never going to be how I function on this planet, or at least I don't plan to. So, definite disparity of viewpoints. Change. So he's not happy either. Wants to change, wants to break out of it, wants to do something else, wants to go his own way. He was stuck in a bad marriage for 32 years. So, not one to embrace change really quickly. So, he's got to change, I guess he's thinking, for his survival. Conflict. There was all this conflict, but he's the hermit. And he doesn't want to have conflict. He doesn't want to have confrontation. He doesn't even want to have a talk. Okay, this is from my end. We'll get to yours in a second, okay? Having to leave to find the missing cup. This is him, I guess, not wanting to be here. It doesn't matter if all these cups are upright and there's all this good stuff. Whatever is missing, and honestly, this sounds really critical, but he's got a lot of issues, and I say the missing cup is in him. And I say that no matter what he finds in this life, it's not going to fill the missing cup. Because when you leave a relationship and you think it'll be perfect with somebody else, but you take you with you, and you're the problem, or not just the problem, it takes two to do anything, but when you have all these issues that you haven't dealt with and don't face anything and don't talk and don't communicate and don't, just be bold enough to face things. I mean, that's one of the keys to being a couple. And if you look at long-term marriages and long-term couples, the biggest thing that's like a marker of their success is their ability to overcome obstacles together. It's like, even if you have a huge disagreement, sometimes one person has to bend a little bit and the other person has to bend a little bit, or sometimes you have to give the other their way. Well, with him, there's none of that. It's just like, it's either total trauma if he has to do anything anybody else's way, or it's, this is the way it is because this is the way I was raised. This is the way I know. This is, I'm set in my ways. I'm saying that flat out. But you don't really realize how crazy that is until you live with it. So that's my perspective, obviously. He works all the time. He doesn't have to work all the time. He could retire now, but he doesn't want to. He works all the time, and it's not like he makes a decent wage, but he's not like the richest guy in the world or anything. And he is so obsessed with working till the minute he drops. And like many men, that's going to be probably what happens to him. He'll work till the minute he drops. Now, I would have never told him not to do that, but I did suggest many times to him that maybe he didn't need to work quite so hard, because everything he does is a typical Capricorn thing. It's regimented. It wouldn't matter how much drudgery there was. He has to put one foot in the other. It sounds like a wonderful work ethic, and sometimes it is. Sometimes it has a much more positive spin on it than other times. And some people who are Capricorns who go through life like this, they enjoy it more and they are more positive about it. It's not like every Capricorn thinks their work is drudgery. They don't. A lot of them love work. He might even love it on some level because it's kind of his only socialization. Even though he's remote, they have meetings online and stuff like that. But having been with me, it didn't have to be like that. I want to socialize all the time. I love to entertain. I'm happy to cook for people. All those things. So this was just an unnecessary exercise for me and for him. Then we have one of my favorite cards also, the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups indicates a lot of choices. Oh, and we've got this. This is juggling. This is juggling. Well, trust me, he's been juggling. But also, it's often trying to find a life-work balance. And I think he thinks his time is running out. And maybe it is. Because he just doesn't want to do anything. Doesn't want to go for a walk or work out or do anything except the same old drudgery. Even his personal life is the same old drudgery, day in, day out, day in, day out. You must think, how did you guys ever get together? Because this is not me. We knew each other when we were young. We were pen pals when we were like teenagers and young adults, and it was lovely. And so I had these beautiful, beautiful memories of him. And then when we got together later in life, he was very sweet and very nice, and we really were crazy about each other. But we got together, and it was a complete and total cataclysmic mess. So it's over. Decisions and changes and not being the hermit and no more conflict. And, this is it from his perspective. Okay, you guys, let's look at this. So, from your other person's perspective, obviously there's conflict. Obviously. Okay? Does this person feel that something is missing that he or she has to go off and seek? That's often what this card can display. And the thing is, you see, the card is so accurate. There are 7 cups, 7 things to be passionate about right here. Beautiful, wonderful things that he could be passionate about, or she. But this person isn't going to do that. This person wants to go seek this thing that they think is missing. Maybe it is. For them, obviously in their mind it is. But is it really missing, or is it going to just be the same old pattern again and again and again and again? Juggling something. Is it the current life with the life they want? Is it work and life? Is it staying at home with these passions? Or is it running off with somebody else? Going away? This is just food for thought. There are many ways to interpret these cards, and I can't do it just one way because there are many of you. So I need your input to figure out what these cards might mean for you. Trying to decide between lots of options. This could be all the people out there that they're trying to decide between. Or do they want to enter that dating pool again? Or could they concentrate on what they already have? Do they want to pick somebody and risk the person being, an iguana? Or do they want to concentrate on what's already there? But then do they want the conflict at home? Maybe you guys are quite confrontational. But there has to be change because what's going on is not working for whatever reason. For whatever reason, okay? Then we've got this one, reflecting. Where am I going to go? What am I going to do next? I'm looking to the past to see what has happened. I don't want to repeat those things. I want to change. So what am I going to do? I'm going to change. I'm going to move on. I'm going to go, backwards to see what I've done wrong, and then I'm going to go forward and not do those things again. But if you take you with you, person, are you really going to get the change you want unless you actually make inner changes? And are they a bit of a workaholic or even a hard worker, for the positive or the negative? So I would love your comments to know if this is as accurate for you as it is for me. Because for me, this spread, now mind you, I'm touching the cards. I'm right here. Every feeling in my being is going into these cards. So it's kind of obvious why they would come up so accurate for me. I want to hear if they're accurate for you. And if so, please let me know, because it is a completely different situation doing something like this where you're reading for lots of people, however many people are out there, than it is for doing a one-on-one reading. So I find it absolutely fascinating how many people it actually works for, because you would think that couldn't be possible, but yet there are certain things in reading cards, it's like a collective thing, and I just am always blown away by that. So, I know I made this very personal, and as much as I'm holding up really well right now, this is really, really painful for me right now. I'm trying to get over a lot of things. I'm trying to regroup and focus on other things that matter and not get myself messed up over a guy. There are other people out there in the world. And when I was a teenager, one of my friend's moms said something to me one time. She said, Angie, you should never, ever, what was it she said? You should never worry about being with anyone who doesn't want to be with you. And I thought, well, yeah, that's true. But if you think about how many people spend time worrying about being with people who really don't want to be with them, you know, we all have really special things about us, like magical things. We have qualities that are so incredible, each of us. And, you know, if you're giving your all to something and somebody doesn't appreciate you, or if they're just not made for you, and I'm not one of these people who believe that there's only one soulmate on the planet for you. That's utterly ridiculous. There are tons of people you could enjoy your life with and do really positive things with. But some people will never be that. And you have to remember too, and this is one of my downfalls, remember some people are too broken to be with you. They're just too broken. Some people can't do relationships. Some people are too narcissistic. Some people, just don't want to put in the effort. Some people can't communicate. Some people shut down every time one little thing goes wrong. There are just so many facets of some people's makeup, their personality, the way they go through the world. So concentrate on you. If you're going to break up, do it. Or if he or she is going to break up with you, allow it to happen. Don't get too clingy. Let it go. Just let it go. It's going to be okay. Let go of those coins and let it go. You will be fine. I will be fine. We're going to make this work. And in the next little while, we're going to do lots of readings to set us on the right path. That I promise. I mean, we're going to get there. And we're going to bring all kinds of things into our lives. We're going to bring peace and joy and happiness and enthusiasm about our projects. We are going to make some money. We're going to bring luck. We're going to give value to people in our lives. We are going to be energy bunnies, and we're going to do some great stuff. So I expect to see you, and I hope to see you again very, very soon. Don't worry about things. And remember, most of all, just because you're thirsty doesn't mean that you should drink poison. And that applies to people especially. Okay? Let go of anything in life that doesn't serve you. And if you have anything to tell me, it's Angie@silverthreadtarot.com. I'd love to hear from you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Talk to you soon.